Brooks & Davis Real Estate Firm, LLC, offers more value than any other good full-service real estate brokerage firm when it comes to the sale of your home. We offer at least 27 things that contribute to your home selling in the least amount of time at the highest price. To receive our free home selling pamphlet, email us at info@brooksanddavis.com or call 713-665-8329. We also assist people who want to purchase homes or who are interested in getting their real estate license. Visit us at www.brooksanddavis.com.
Are you an inspiring entrepreneur? Or maybe you're an entrepreneur looking to take your business to the next level. My name is Larry W. Brooks, and I am the author of Empowering Quotes for the Entrepreneur in You and The Entrepreneur Code. In these two books, I guarantee you there's success secrets that will take your business to the next level. I personally invite you to visit LarryWBrooks.com. Go under the books link and purchase your signed personal copy from myself. You have a great day and have an awesome 2020.
Happy Thursday. Welcome to the Prime Real Estate Network podcast. I'm your host, Ric Davis. If you don't follow me on Instagram, I invite you to do so at Prime Real Estate Ric. If you're looking to buy, sell, or invest in residential or commercial real estate anywhere in the state of Texas, but especially here in our city of Houston, I invite you to reach out to me directly on Instagram at Prime Real Estate Ric. I want to thank everyone out there in the audience for tuning in this week. We have a really exciting show planned for you all this Thursday. I would like to introduce my co-host. He is not only a successful real estate broker, a multi-time author, serial entrepreneur, the proud proprietor of the Pure Hustle clothing brand. I want to thank him for carving some time out of his busy Thursday schedule and sitting in with us. I'd like to introduce you all to the Texas Real Estate King, Mr. Larry W. Brooks.
What up, beautiful people? Shout out to my man, Ric D. Thank you for the introduction. It's always beautiful and very, very kind words you have there for you, boy.
Hey, man, you know it is, man. It's a great day, man. We're here.
Indeed.
It's the fall in Houston. It's Thursday. Got our first little taste of fall weather outside, man. Yeah. I mean, right now, the middle of high school football playoffs and everything, man. So Round two. So for everybody in the audience that's been keeping up with us on a weekly basis, man, how's your week going? How was last week's game, man? And what's been going on in the world of the Texas Real Estate King?
Week's been good, man. Just staying busy. Want to say shout out to all the males out there that are getting up closer to your 40s. You know, it's time to get some tests done. Make sure you're staying healthy. You're taking care of your body. So want to give a shout out to those of you that have not had an opportunity to do your wellness check. Make sure you go out and get your wellness checks done. Highly happy, man. We won our opening playoff game against Houston Wild Trip last week. So we on to round two. Yeah. You know, kind of like we discussed, round two a little further. So we're going up close to Austin. So for those of you in the Austin area, I want y'all to feel free to drive down to the Bass Drop area. Come check Manville out. They'll be playing against Smith Valley, I think it is. And come see us, do what we do. You know what I mean?
So you're road tripping, man. So you're road tripping out Austin way.
Man.
All right,
Austin way, man. You know, it happens when you got a sophomore playing varsity already, man.
Hey, man, congratulations, man. Everybody out there in Manville, man, it's good to be in the second round, man. Best of luck, man. You know, you got to always carry that Houston flag out of town, especially when you get to the playoffs and you start playing the boys from Central Texas, man. So, huge shout out, man. You know,
how's your week been, man?
Larry, man, this league is cool, man. We weren't able to be as successful in the first round of the playoffs as Manville was, but I want to give a big, huge shout out to all the Cy Ranch Mustangs, man. Great season. They didn't have an opportunity to advance. Unfortunately, they failed. I want to say by 6 or 7 to Klein Kane Hurricanes. So big shout out to the Hurricanes. They played a good game. Weather was terrible. Oh my God, man. It was a rainstorm. It was 40 degrees. You know what I'm saying? But big, huge shout out to the Mustangs, man. Oh, big, huge shout out to the Classics dance team at Cy Ranch, man. They opened their arms. They showed a lot of love to my daughter. She had a chance to hang out with the Classics all season, man. It's an experience she won't soon forget. So big, huge shout out to everybody with the Classics as well, man.
Yeah, man. Also, man, for everybody that's looking, that's timed in right now, please feel free to show Our guest today is going to drop some amazing information, going to enlighten you on some things of how to actually have a real estate lifestyle. And so, for those of you, again, like, share, and subscribe to the page right now.
Now, Larry, before we introduce this week's guest, could you share with our audience a little bit about the professional connections that bind us all, how we were able to gain her commitment to sit in with us this week on the Prime Real Estate Network?
Yeah, man. The thing is the real estate firm that she's a part of, the Braden Group, of course, they are alumni of the Prime Real Estate Network. So we've had the owner as well as several of the team members that have been a part of the show. And at a real estate event, there was a real estate networking event. Myself and today's guest had an opportunity to have a conversation and just talk about the industry as a whole. And just watching her performance and watching her growth and knowing that you're always in the right room with the right people, man. She needed to have been a part of this platform and came on and dropped some gems, but we're lucky enough to get her today. And, man, I'm just excited to just have her on.
Hey, man, without any further ado, I'd like to introduce this week's guest. She is not only one of the highest performing and most talented realtors in the city of Houston. She is also a fitness enthusiast. As Larry mentioned, she's a real estate rock star with the Braden Group. I'd like to introduce this week's guest, and I want to thank her so much for sitting in with us, Miss Raeven Young. How you doing?
Yep.
Let's see.
Probably have Raven back there. She getting a rock star energy drinker going now. Something.
Yeah, we go. We should be able to bring her in. Larry, the cool thing about having Raeven sit in with us, you mentioned that she's not the first member to be on the show from the Braden Group. And one of the great things about the people that worked at the Braden Group from a real estate perspective that I've always been impressed with is their online video content. And the creativity that they show on social media, man. So that's one of the things that I've always been so impressed with, as like you said, as we venture through this real estate career, the different groups that we've had a chance to interact with. What are some of the things about the Braden Group you've noticed?
Man, here's the thing. We're becoming the go-to podcast of real estate or entrepreneurship, right? It's almost becoming a thing to where people hadn't had an opportunity over the last 2 years that we've been doing the show to be guests on the Prime Real Estate Network, man. It is now we're being seeked out. So, I say that because it's an honor and a pleasure when we bump into people. They say that they've seen the podcast, they've shared the podcast, how can they become guests of the podcast? And so as we build those relationships out, I'm now at the point to where I can take a look and I'll be like, well, I don't know you personally, so I gotta get to know you before I can just invite you onto the platform, because the people that watch our show or watch the podcast, we truly value them. So we want to bring them people that are adding value and just giving them more of an experience. So the Braden Group and members of the Braden Group are that part of that culture. I've always been very, very impressed with the way that they've grown out and the agents that they bring in. They got great tutelage. I remember as they were going through and they were vetting the people that fit the mix, if it was someone that didn't fit the mix, they'd be like, hey, Brooks, what do you think about y'all bringing on? Is something that may fit y'all culture? Because in the real estate industry, cultures can change, right? There could be a focus in one time that may not be the same focus in another area. So just the honor and the pleasure to be able to share value with another powerful African-American brokerage firm in the city of Houston is and throughout Texas is always a great deal, bro.
No, as we get Ms. Young dialed back in so that we can bring her on, one of the questions that we got from members of our audience, Larry, and I just wanted to shoot this to you, is that we're at that part of the year where there are a lot of people who are gearing up to take their real estate licensing exam for the first time. And it's funny because the anxiety and the pressure that people put on themselves at this time of year, especially when they're trying to get that real estate license exam knocked out. Do you have any advice for those people who are at Champions Real Estate, who've completed the coursework, but just need to just build up that confidence to sit down and take that test and go through the examination? Is there anything that, as far as advice, you can give them as somebody who's not only been licensed for as long, but have had to renew the license as many times as you have?
Yeah, I want you all that are going through that process right now to start to focusing on consistency right now, right? Like whatever your life, because what's going to allow you to be successful in real estate is going to be the consistency that you put into this business and this industry. So I want you, as you're going through your class right now, start to find a place of consistency. Consistency when it comes to the times that you study, the time that you put into studying. Just start to narrow down your life and start to focus on consistency right now, so that once you get into this business, it's going to be an easy flow for you. Start to put the things into place. You're working out, you're meeting and talking to people, right? Like, let's start to get that consistency right now. That's what I got for him, Rick.
Oh, no, that's outstanding, Larry. And then also to piggyback what you just mentioned, for those in the audience who don't follow Brooks and Davis Real Estate Firm on Instagram, who don't subscribe to BND TV on YouTube, take advantage of those opportunities. Tap into Brooks and Davis Real Estate Firm, because we have study halls where virtually and in person, we bring students, those that are studying towards their real estate license, we bring them together, give people support, motivation, and inspiration that they need to get past those thoughts of anxiety, those thoughts that could make you procrastinate and not necessarily step out there when the information is most fresh on your mind and when you have the best opportunity to score the highest score on that examination. Yeah, and the cool thing is that I meet so many of those new agents, Larry, that have been recently licensed. The same thoughts and same anxiety that they had before they took the test, after they get the license, is the same anxiety that they go through before they actually get out there and start marketing the business.
Yeah.
So
when Rick, the thing about it, and this is another thing that in anything that's new to us, we're going to have a small bit of hesitation. But one of the things that I'll tell you about real estate, for those of you that are new, that are just getting into this industry, is you have to dive in. You have got to just go ahead and start creating activities, because you got to understand, when you get into this industry, your business isn't going to start to flow immediately, but you've got to have what the Bible says is a faith of a mustard seed. You've got to have that small amount of faith that the activities that you can't see visually come into conception at the time, that they're going to, in fruition in the future, they're
no, and
those are the things that'll keep you in the industry, as long as myself. So, for me, it's just about, teaching and training those new agents to get out there and find that consistency and find that faith. Like, you're not going to know each and everything that someone may ask you immediately, but you have got to trust that that the answer is accessible to you, and if you're with a good, strong teaching core brokerage firm that got coaching behind you, literally you can get an answer in 15 to 20 minutes of whatever question like that might be. So feel free to get out there and touch people and get active.
One of the things that when people have opportunity to sit down with you privately or have opportunity to talk to you from a consultation standpoint, that I've always heard you reiterate with every new agent that you talk to, is the value of volunteering and the value of getting involved. If for whatever reason you don't have any bright ideas as far as where you're supposed to get your first $1 million client from, get out, be a part of real estate organizations, volunteer your time, and be out amongst the people, because you'll be surprised how many of those same highly successful people that'll be great clients for you actually invest their time in the community, actually volunteer and give up themselves, hoping for nothing in return. So that's one of the things. And Larry, would you agree with that, or is that something that you put into practice?
I totally agree, man. You have got to be a go-giver. And there was a book that was written.
That's a good one.
It's a book. It's a book. It's called The Go-Giver. And I read this book, but not only that, it is a thing when people love giving to those that give, right? So give of your time. Once you get to a level where you can give of your finances, donate and give of your finances. But you got to get out there and volunteer and be a resource for people that are more than just someone that has your hand sticking out and wanting something. You don't want to be in a place where you're where you asking for business, but you ain't finding a way to give back when it comes to time. So, that's what I always say, that, like you said, Rick, it's one of those things that I always emphasize on. find a way to give back in time, be a part of organizations. And you have to, like, those are just the circles that it was going to allow your business to one day flow without you always having to monetize it and always having to put money behind every time you breathe. Well, you breathe an activity of an event. So you most definitely want to put yourself in a situation where, you know, you're going out, you're giving them your time, and it's still going to be coming from your heart. Even if in the beginning, I always tell people, the way activities work, even if in the beginning you're not doing it for, you know, the kindness in your heart, but you're doing the activity, it's one of those things that at some point going to tap into you. And next thing you know, it's going to be something you can't move around without. You're going to be like, oh, I need to be volunteering here. I need to be helping somebody there. Like, you get out, you get the volunteering, that seed, that energy, that bug is going to jump into you. And then you're going to find yourself years later still continuing to find ways to give back. So by all means, you want to do that. You most definitely want to give back.
You know, the best thing about once you get into November and December is that it officially becomes holiday season.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that I like to speak to new agents about are the value of hosting events.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times you see real estate professionals, you see real estate brokers, you see real estate companies hosting events, and they seem really grandiose and they seem really fun and really exciting. But there is a true business motivation and the way that those type of events can affect the bottom line. So Larry, could you speak towards the value of, for instance, the Brooks and Davis real estate firm holiday party? What are the motivations behind that? And how does that help to build the rapport and the camaraderie amongst the team and everybody at Brooks and Davis?
Well, you know, one of the things that I picked up as a new realtor 20 plus years ago is giving back, right? Showing gratitude. And at the end of the day, when I first got into the industry, I might not have had a lot myself. I might not have closed a lot of transactions, but I always found a way to do gratitude. And I would love to say that it was something that I brought on myself, but it wasn't. I actually was in Dallas around the first time when I first got my license, and there was some young attorneys that had just partnered up. They had a gratitude, I call it a gratitude party, but they had one of those, you know, the holiday parties.
Client appreciation, client appreciation.
Yeah, appreciation thing, right? And it was Gossie Martin and what's Noop name? Both of them Noops, but they out of Dallas. Who got hit or something like that. And I should know this, but right now I'm just thinking through it. But those gentlemen had did like a whole gratitude thing, and I remember thinking to myself, I want to do that. I want to be big enough to have people come that I can just bless them, right? Paying for food, pay for drinks, just pay for entertainment, everything be on me. And so just being able to say that every year with Brooks and Davis, that's one of the things that we do. And so it's one of those growth patterns, man. You just got, even as an independent realtor, you should do one every single year with you and your clients, ones that have referred your business or closed your transactions, and and go forward.
Absolutely. And it's funny because there's so many things about real estate that people see on social media, see on Instagram, see on TikTok, but sometimes they don't always see the business strategy behind those type of events. So if you are, like Mr. Brooks said, newly licensed or within your first year in the real estate industry, that does not stop you from hosting your own holiday events. Even if the brokerage is doing something, even if your company's doing something, there is nothing wrong with you reaching out to all your clients from this year or the past years and everyone who's referred you business and hosting a you specific client or partner appreciation event around the holiday times. Because Larry, there is no better time to get people to accept your invite than this time of year
during the holiday season. And you know, the thing is that, you know, when I first started doing it, we didn't really have as strong of a social media presence as the world has now. And so the beauty of it now is that when you do these events, the people that are there, they're going to show the event. They're going to show your brand. So you as an independent realtor, is actually more impactful if you do it versus if it's just a brokerage firm. So you as an independent realtor, and it doesn't have to cost you much. It could cost you anywhere from $250 to $500, just depending on your level of business or where you at in the industry, right? And you could do it. It's an easy concept. You can literally do it. You can go to one of your favorite restaurants, let them know that you want an area of the bar that you would love an opportunity to host an event. They're going to be excited about that. You may have a bar minimum or something, and that number is usually really easy to hit. People come in, have a great time. You can even give them tickets, right? Like that's one of the things that I used to always do in my beginning times. I would put together I would have my drink tickets. I would always have the food and all that stuff already trade out and bring it out and just handing out to guests as they're there, man. So it's an opportunity. I attended a birthday event. Shout out to my girl Patience and all the amazing things. She had a birthday event with a purpose at 5115, I think is what 5150 over in the Galleria area a few weeks ago, or a week ago. And I think the beauty of that, right, was that yes, it was her birthday celebration, and that's monumental by itself. But she was also expressing networking and partnerships with other people, as well as talking about her brand. She has a tutoring brand that she was that was out there and that was in representation as well. And so it was an amazing room to just see people coming together and genuinely networking. I met someone that even in my case, I met someone that I had been following on social media and had been listening to them talk in different rooms and circles. And me and him was just standing there talking. I looked at like, man, you look familiar. He said the same thing. And next thing you know, we're like, oh yeah, and we built a relationship off of it. Mm-hmm. And I'm excited within sometime between now and January, we're going to have him on the podcast, man, because he needs to be here, man. He's a real estate financial guru. And he's even done some business with a former guest of ours, Prez D, which is also alumni, but he's this guy has a Cool Cup brand, a Cool Cup drink brand with Exotic Pop. So for me, it hit home 2 times. I mean, with the Exotic Pop brand, because we're very aware of that, and the Cool Cup. And I told him, I was like, man, my grandmother was a Cool Cup lady. I get it. And so just to be able to have the familiarity with those things. Yep.
This year, especially in 2022, in regards to real estate, for a lot of the popular media, news, television, blogs, internet, it's been a lot of mixed messaging as far as real estate, interest rates, time to buy, time to wait. One of the things that I think came across that I felt was really interesting is how all the most respected financial gurus, financial experts, mortgage experts are predicting that as we go into 2023, interest rates are going to start falling. So the thing that was kind of cool is that there's been so many people saying that the interest rates are too high to buy. It's really interesting that now as we go into the new year, a lot of those same financial analysts, mortgage analysts are now backpedaling and reconsidering some of the advice that they gave people 3, 4, 6 months ago. It is just, to me, it's always so amazing how no matter how much you try to explain to people that real estate is a cyclic business. Yeah. Things go up, things go down, things change, things stay the same. It's just amazing to me how online and in the media, people just can't accept the fact that everything that they see now will be seen again. And all these things tend to come back around from that perspective. So what has been your message, Larry, when people have asked you about buying right now, putting homes on the market and worrying about interest rates and all the doomsday prognostication that they might hear online?
Here's it, like you said, Rick, we've been in this industry long enough to watch the cycles come and go. So people are going to continue. And like I tell people every time they ask me a question out and about in real estate, people are going to always be buying. People are going to always be selling. You may not see a gravy train moment where everyone's closing deals every 5 minutes, but there's going to always be consistent business. And the top 20% going to eat. So, you got to be active and be a part of it.
Hey, Larry, I want to introduce this week's guest.
Right.
I want to thank us so much, man, because Larry, as we always talk about, for those in real estate, Thursday is that day. So without any further ado, I'd like to introduce this week's guest. She is not only an outstanding realtor, she is not only a fitness enthusiast, a real estate rock star with the Braden Real Estate Group. I'd like to introduce Miss Raeven Young. How are you?
Hey, good afternoon. I'm good, guys. How are y'all doing?
We're excited, right?
Outstanding. Thank you
Yes,
so much
indeed.
for
Hold on.
sitting in with
Let me
us.
get that to you. Let me get that to you. Let me get that to you.
Give it a clapper. Thank you so much. Larry spoke a little bit about you guys' background with each other, how you guys had a chance to meet, network, and interact. So I like to ask all of our guests, first things first, what is your first memories of interacting and meeting the Texas Real Estate King, Mr. Larry W. Brooks?
Who knows?
So I met Larry at a networking event. I thought was pretty great because I knew exactly who he was as soon as I walked up to his table.
Right.
The first thing he did was try to give me a book, of course, and
Yeah.
I bought it.
Yes, he did.
Yeah,
That's
it's
right.
great book, great book. But yeah, I mean, I've always admired the show and what you guys are doing. I know some of my fellow coworkers have been on. So I'm excited to finally be here as well.
Oh, no, absolutely. So just for those in our audience who are meeting you for the first time, just introduce yourself, your real estate brand, and tell us a little bit about your personal real estate story.
Yes. I'm Raven Young. I'm born and raised in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, but I've been in Houston quite a while. Not a Houstonian, but definitely my second home. I'm with the Braden Real Estate Group. I've been with Braden since I started my real estate career in 2020. I started my career a month before COVID shut everything down.
Wow.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. I started literally right before it all just, went down. And I was super excited to get started in the industry because I had found a brokerage I thought really spoke to who I was as a person and just the type of value that I wanted to bring throughout my career, my journey with Braden. So I joined Braden, started training with them, and a week later, COVID shut the whole world down.
Wow.
So instead of letting that discourage me, I became mentored by Nicole Handy, the co-owner of Braden Real Estate Group. And she really, paved the way for me to just learn as much as I could during those down moments of COVID, just, being so uncertain with the industry. And I just really wanted to dive in as soon as everything opened back up, especially being under the wing of, one of the greatest realtors I've ever met. So,
that's really good because I always wondered for people that got their license right around that time period, if it was a great opportunity for them to study more or if they just got froze and was like, maybe this is a sign I shouldn't do it. So it seems like you took the latter part and was like, study more, get mentored, and be ready.
Yeah, exactly. I learned Canva. I learned how to make all my own ads. I did photo shoots. I practiced video content, just getting in front of the camera more. She really poured into me just knowing that was an opportunity to just grow and build on the back end before I put myself out there to the world. So I use that downtime to definitely learn and grow as a realtor.
Now, you mentioned a lot about your content creation, your video production. So as someone who follows you on Instagram and follow you online, I've been really impressed with the content that you created as far as homes that are for sale, listings, spotlighting certain master plans and communities. So for those that follow you, but it may not have the opportunity to meet you in person, how challenging was it for you to get comfortable in front of the camera? And are you as comfortable in front of the camera as it seems from the content you're creating?
Okay, that's a good question. So at first I was very shy. I did not feel comfortable at all doing content and just putting myself out there because I didn't know how I would be received. It's a big adjustment going from corporate America, going from running a business where you don't have to be in the forefront to literally having to be in the forefront almost overnight, because that's the direction that our business has gone within the last couple of years. So it was an adjustment mentally to just get out of my own head with what are people going to think about me? Am I too country? Am I too urban? I just didn't know, but I knew that the more I just was myself, the easier it would get and the right people would adapt and gravitate and really get to know me as a person and me as a realtor.
You know, Raven, it's and one of the things that when I watch your page, it's always glowing, right? But you know, a lot of times in this industry, we try to be lifestyle realtors. Like we try to show, you know, our everyday wins and some of our struggles when it comes to like how we deal with our family and stuff like that. I think you do an amazing job at it. Like literally, you take the time to make sure that it's structured where they see that you live a little bit, so that, but they also respect your hustle when it comes to this industry. So I just want to give you a kudos and your flowers on that right now. You're doing an amazing job at that.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I know, and you know, it's interesting because during your introduction, I don't know if you noticed, but I introduced you as a fitness enthusiast as well as a real estate rock star and realtor.
Yeah.
And to speak to Larry's point, one of the cool things about following you on Instagram is that you do get some work-life balance as far as some of the videos you post. Right. So my question for you is this: what were you more nervous recording first, your real estate content or your fitness content?
So I'll say my real estate content, because fitness is second nature for me. So, you know, you just put a camera up and just do your thing. But with real estate, it's like, are people going to believe I know what I'm talking about? So I'm a perfectionist in a sense when it comes to content. And that is what I've learned I had to get out of, because I might say something wrong or just not feel confident in how I said it. So I got to redo it over and over and over again. And it was like, I got to stop doing this. I will say, though, putting yourself out there in a physical way in which you're showing your body or just, you know, what your capabilities are, it was a little concerning because I didn't want to be perceived as putting too much of myself out there. Like, you know, I can't hide that I am a fitness enthusiast. I love being in shape, but I don't want to make other people feel uncomfortable, you know? So that is what I really was trying to figure out a way to balance.
No, that's amazing.
It is. That's a great answer. You know, and as we go through and had a conversation with you, you know, I really remember so many things. I'm reflecting back on just so many things about real estate, you know, all the way back to the point to where us as some African-American realtors, we would take our faces off of our business cards because we didn't want somebody to prejudge our ability to do our service beforehand. And kind of like you know, which is crazy. So like now we're not, well, it wasn't crazy back then, but when we hear it, we think that's crazy. Why was that? People could Google you, blah, blah, blah. But like now, even just hearing you talk about being able to put contents out and us wanting to make sure that we're verbalizing things the right way, or we're not showing too much or being too vulnerable. I don't know. I think now in our culture and in this industry, we can find a way to find our place and be successful at it, because with you can even see it through your business and the way that your business is growing through, you know, people genuinely liking you and the way that you move in your space. So yeah.
A lot of people, I got a lot of feedback of people just telling me they are glad that I'm very authentic about who I am on my social media, because it makes them feel like they know me. And people are going to buy from people they like, know, and trust. And I want people to like me, but I want people to also feel like they know me a little bit. You know, I don't have to tell you everything, but you know enough to know I like to work out. I love my mom. You know, details like that. It's also icebreakers too. Whenever you meet a client for the first time, you already have a couple of things you can touch on in a conversation with them. So
that's right. Do you have a favorite part of the industry? Like, do you have I don't want to say perfect client, because we're going to come in contact with different people, but do you have a favorite area of the industry that right now you're really seeking more business in?
I will say my favorite part of the industry is just networking. Like Houston is, being from Baton Rouge, it's a little different in how they structure their real estate and, you know, how they get their business. You know, a lot of word of mouth probably, I'm sure, but here it's about who you know, and, you know, it's just all about who you are willing to be in the same room with, even if you don't know them yet. So I'll say networking has been my favorite part. You know, I love being in a room full of people that know me and I don't know them, and I'm like, oh, okay, you know, or vice versa. So that has been my favorite part so far, because the dots that I'm able to connect in a room full of people I don't know, and then begin to start getting to know better, I'm able to give them business, or they give me business, or just whatever. So I really love that part about it.
I'm loving that answer. So I look forward to you next year taking part in some of our HAR advisory boards. So, you know, I can see you being a part of that. All of that needs to become a part of your real estate goals. You need to be a part of all of those things.
That's at the top of my list. Networking more, public speaking, all of that is at the top of my list.
Okay. Yeah.
You know, one of the things that I'm interested in, because you brought up Baton Rouge, is that when you think about your upbringing back home, were there any members of your family, close personal circle from church, teachers, or anyone who may have been a business owner, entrepreneur that may have been as like maybe served as an example for you or an inspiration to actually start your own real estate company and go out here and walk your own path?
Not a single person.
Whoa.
Wow. So where do you think the inspiration for you came from?
Just exactly that. Seeing not a single person have any control of their income and any control of their schedule, any control of, you know, just their everyday, you know, duties. It just really felt debilitating to know someone else has the power to hire and fire. And, you know, you got to work for them for 30 something years in order to be able to take a decent vacation and not have to stress yourself out about sick leave, you know, down the line or whatever the case may be. I really felt like I didn't want to be a part of that cycle of just working for someone and then things not going my way. And now I'm stuck trying to find another job, or there's layoffs, or just anything that puts me out of control in my lifestyle. So I wanted more control of my lifestyle for sure. And
you know, that's good.
I didn't know a single realtor. I did not know a single person for real estate in Baton Rouge.
And Larry, and sometimes we think everybody's a realtor out here in Houston. We think
everybody
has a license.
Hey, when I first got
I didn't know a single realtor.
Wow, you know, it's crazy because when I was going through until got to the college level, I didn't realize what a realtor was. But it's funny, when I got my license back years ago, literally everyone at that time, I'll give you a number, right? At that time, we were in Harris County, we only had about 13,000 licensees. Now we have almost 50,000 licensees, just to give you an idea of how growth has happened. So now we really joke in our real estate community now that your local bagger at the grocery store probably has a real estate license. Like, it seems like everyone is going out attempting to get one. Although we know the only way to really do this business has got to be more like yourself, create a lifestyle behind it, start to build a brand behind it, and then be that person that people want to network with and come to. So it's just funny that you mentioned that, no doubt.
Yeah.
You know, and I thank you so much for being so transparent and forthcoming, because I know sometimes it's not always easy to think about your past or really try to communicate your evolutionary path as far as being a business owner and entrepreneur. And our final question is, what did you do professionally before real estate? And what was the tipping point that motivated you to leave that where it was and move forward into your true destiny?
So I had my business management degree, and what ended up driving me into wanting to start my own business is so funny. A Tyler Perry movie. I watched that movie. And at the end of that movie, there was a beautiful wedding at the end of one of the Tyler Perry movies. And there were, like, you know, people hanging from the ceiling playing harps. And I just was like, I want to do that. I want to make one of the biggest days of someone's life so special, so amazing, so unforgettable, that I decided to become an events planner. I was already a project manager and an event coordinator for venues in Baton Rouge, and I just decided to take it another level and become an events planner and create my own, you know, company with my mom. So I did that for 6.5 years. Handling one of the biggest moments of people's lives was something I definitely cherished, and I didn't take it for granted. I didn't take it lightly whatsoever, but it was a lot of pressure when you're talking about someone's wedding day. I
you get to see the good and the bad and the ugly of a person on that
day. So I still wanted to have that impact on people. One of the reasons why was because most of my clients were African American. And I realized that once they had gotten married, they did not have homes. They had no direction of which way to go in order to merge all of their, different things in order to build a house or buy a house and how to get their credit right. So they just were lost. All they knew was that they loved each other and they wanted to get married, right? Mm-hmm. So I decided, well, I would love to help my clients buy homes and help them understand credit and things like that in order to prepare for just being in real estate in general once they've crossed, over the threshold of being married or before they decide to do that, whichever they decide. Once my mom had a stroke, I decided to hang up my wedding planning hat and just focus solely on real estate. So,
wow. That's very powerful, man. And, motivation and inspiration is something that can't always be described, but every person has that something inside of them that gets them going. And I appreciate you so much for sharing your why with our audience. For those in our audience who haven't had a chance to meet you before today, that would love to interact, tap in, and just become part of the Raven Young movement, how can members of our audience stay connected with you, Ms. Young?
The fastest way, of course, is to follow me on social media at Raven the Realtor. I have 2 E's in my name. It's Raeven, the Realtor. That's the fastest way. I'm pretty active on there. And then the second fastest way, of course, is to just pay attention to any events that I post, because most times if I'm posting those events, I'm going to be in attendance. Things that my brokerage is hosting, I most likely will be in attendance as well. So I would say to follow my brokerages, my Braden Real Estate Group's Instagram as well. So any public events that we have there. And to also come check out open houses and things like that I'm hosting. You can always meet me at an
Absolutely.
open too, bring an interested buyer or cousin or somebody. If you're a realtor, bring an interested client. And that's probably going to be one of the best ways to connect with me also.
Absolutely, man. I want to thank you so much. I know Larry and I joke about this a lot, but asking a real estate professional to give you about 30 minutes on a Thursday sometimes can be quite a sacrifice. So I want to thank you so much for making that sacrifice for us, Queen. It's been great interviewing you. Anytime you would like to come back on the podcast, share any events that you have an open invitation. I thank you so much for sitting in with us.
Yeah, I would love to hang out a lot longer with you all. This was fun, and it went by a lot quicker than I thought it would. But yeah, I would love to come back again and hang out with you guys.
See, good job, Larry. We getting better, man. Thank you. Appreciate it. No doubt.
We try to create this comfort zone, man. We want Raven to be able to want to hang out with us longer. That's it, man.
Yeah, I love this type of stuff. Shout out to y'all for doing this.
I know, until we get a chance to interact and meet with you, because like you said, we'll probably see you at the next networking event.
Yep.
Hey, keep everything going. We're going to stay tapped in with you on IG. Keep motivating us on the fitness side. Keep motivating us on the real estate side. And until next time, man, we love you.
Okay. Thank you, Rick. Thank you, Larry.
All right. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye-bye.
All right, man.
Mr. LB, man, you know what it is, man. That was a good one, man. That was a great show, man. Her energy is just infectious, brother, man. Like, I mean, it was great.
And it's like that in real life, though. It's like that in real life. I literally remember the conversation that we had. And she's right. I was selling her book. But for the most part, just to be able to have a great real estate conversation with someone and then kind of remember the journey that she talked about, the brokerage firm. And it's just, for those of you that are just now joining us, you most definitely want to tap in, get to Raven's IG, follow her, pour into her business. You're going to find, if you're like-minded, and she sits well with you, you most definitely want to pour into the business that she has going, man. So it's always an honor and a pleasure to interview people like Raven, man. So because the thing is that, after you've sat in this seat of being in this industry 20 plus years, Rick, you want to be able to say that somebody 20 years later that you watched them when they were 4 years, 5 years in the industry, right? Like, so to be able to say that now, to be able to look forward to that in the future. Like I always use an example. Shout out to one of the past Prime Real Estate alumni, Courtney Johnson Rose. Like I remember her being in the industry before I got into the industry, and then just kind of seeing her successes. It just reminds me of energy and people like Raven. You're going to look up years from now, and they're going to be just doing this industry and it's going to be just a fun time.
No, and to that point, Larry, I want to give a big, huge shout out to everybody over at the Braden Real Estate Group. Want to thank you so much for providing Ms. Young and allowing us to interview Ms. Young on today's episode. If you are a real estate broker, if you have your real estate brokerage, you have real estate rock stars on your team, and you'd like to have them spotlighted, highlighted, and interviewed on the Prime Real Estate Network podcast, that is possible. Mr. Brooks, could you just talk a little bit about our sponsorship and our partnership opportunities that are now available?
Yes, indeed. So for those of you that have an opportunity to see us on the screen, we have 4 different ways that we are inviting you in to be a partner with us here at the Prime Real Estate Network. And the thing is that we continue to add value. And one of the things that I always say to people is you're going to be with us in perpetuity. So as you tap in and you realize that we're on episode 199, that means that if you had started with us, you've been on each and every last one of those episodes. So as you move forward, I want you to take a look at the marketing that we're putting out there for you. We're going to give you 12 episodes, 24 episodes, 36 episodes, 48 episodes. We want you to be with us the entire year, or as much as you can, first quarter, second quarter of next year, going into 2023. And we want to market and promote your business. And so you may see these numbers. You'll know that you'll be a part of what we have going here on the platform, but that doesn't only stay there. Whenever we're doing, building relationships. Someone asks who my title company is, I'm going to give you my title company. Someone asks you who my survey company is, who my partnership is when it comes to our mortgage companies. I'm going to use your name as someone that is bought into and that is actually promoting your business alongside of us here at the Prime Real Estate Network. So I need you all to tap in, reach out to myself or Rick. Let's get your commercial together and let's get you moving forward as a relationship with the Prime Real Estate Network.
Appreciate you, Larry, man. Look, great episode, man. Thank you so much for your time. Everybody out there in the audience, go by the YouTube channel, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the share button. It helps us out in the algorithm. Big, huge shout out to everybody who supports us on Patreon. You can go to our Patreon page at the Prime Real Estate Network. It does an invaluable job of giving us opportunities to go out and get the best and the brightest as far as those in the real estate sphere, give you an opportunity to meet, greet, and interact with them, man. Any final words for our audience this week, Mr. Brooks, before we sign off?
Man, just one real quick shout out. Want to give a shout out to past alumni of the Prime Real Estate Network, Garland Bennett. We had an opportunity to have a conversation about his amazing holiday series of giving back that he does. So I want you guys to have an opportunity. Again, is Garland Bennett. He's going to be hosting his networking event. I'm trying to see if I can see the link. Tell you what, I don't see the link to it, but it's an amazing holiday event. I want you to tap into him. Call him at 713-820-1793. 713-820-1793. Garland has an amazing event that's going to be taking place here in the city of Houston. Always a bunch of who's that shows up there. Want to support his event. It's a very important event. It's giving back. And so make sure that you tap in. And if you don't already have holiday plans, you most definitely want to be a part of it. And it's actually taking place December 10th.
Hey, man, big, huge shout out to Mr. Garland Bennett. Fine, brother. Like you said, Larry, it was gracious enough to be interviewed on the Prime Real Estate Network podcast, and we'll never forget that contribution. And we try to do everything we can to support those who support us. Big, huge shout out. I want to thank everybody. I'm Ric Davis. I want to thank you on behalf of myself and the Texas Real Estate King, Mr. Larry W. Brooks. Until next Thursday here in the noon hour, everybody out there in the audience, please be safe and be blessed.
Be blessed.